All I ask is to not run awful. That's all. That's all. One run neutral. Low average, that's fine. Anything but running awful, like I always do. Now, if you didn't see my video days ago, I had a 25x chalked by Klay Thompson by half a point. We had 22 points through 2.5 quarters and couldn't get one more point. This one might have hurt even more. Markelle Fultz got injured, went to the locker room, did not play at all in the second quarter. Came back, missed his prop by point. That is now 2 of the last 3 days that this has happened. It has cost me $2,500. I want you all to think about that, all right? This has now happened to me 2 of the last 3 nights. I want you to think. Is there possibly anyone in this universe that could run worse? We all know that answer. It is no. Don't even know what to say. I literally don't even know what to say. Markelle Fultz plays 3 quarters. You give him his, if he doesn't get injured and go to the locker room, easily hits this number, and I win $1,200 profit. You tell me, right? Is there anyone that runs worse? DFS had a great night, Call of Duty, per usual, and then my high stakes lineup I missed by like 2 points in tournaments. Low-owned Gobert, no blocks or steals. Garland free square, massive bust. $2,500 I've missed out on. Oh. Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about the 7-game slate, guys. If you are looking for more in-depth content, you can check out my Patreon. That is linked down below. All for Prize Picks content. I have gone like 13 of 15 the last 2 days, but I've only doubled up because obviously, again, I've been doing the 6-player prop slips and have gone 5 for 6 now 2 of the last 3 nights. So I am in the most amount of pain possible. All right. So again, if you do want to check that out, you can check out my Patreon link down below. And the sponsor is Prize Picks. If you're not familiar, again, it's a player prop site. You can use the code DKDFS. That will give you a 100% match up to $100. All right, so we'll start off with the Clippers and the Wizards. For the Clippers, no Reggie Jackson, no Norman Powell. Terrence Mann is questionable. So I'm guessing you get a starting lineup of John Wall, Paul George, Kawhi, Marcus Morris, and Ivica Zubac. So John Wall's 5'9". He has been awful from real life perspective, but he's solid as far as point per minute goes. So if he does pick up the start here, I would assume he plays probably 25 to 30 minutes, and it makes him a decent option in the mid-range. We'll keep an eye on news for Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Paul George did play a bit more last game, played 32 minutes. Kawhi Leonard has been held under 30 minutes, so we'll keep an eye on the news, but both the top guys I think look decent. Zubac always in play for tournaments, but he's been up and down. Morris at 5'2", probably not going to do that. Nick Batum at 4'2". He has been starting last couple of games, but I would assume he moves back to the bench with Kawhi and Paul George both playing again. I would guess that starting lineup would be Wall, George, Morris, Leonard, Zubac. So value-wise, you have this grouping like Batum, Kennard, Covington. They're playable, but there's no standouts there. Now for the Wizards, they were very short-handed tonight. They only played 8 guys. And assuming that Will Barton is out again, I'm expecting similar rotation. So a lot to like here for the Wizards. KP and Kuzma, these guys should play 35-plus minutes. They will run the offense. I like both of them at the top. Again, shorthanded team. They're going to have to do everything. Monte Morris was disappointing in 34 minutes, but he is a decent play in the mid-range. Denny Advia, he played 40 minutes, went for 32 fantasy points. I like him a good amount. Corey Kispert should play a lot, but again, he's a low-usage player. I'd just rather get to Denny or Monte Morris for a bit more. Value-wise, Goodwin played 34 minutes. I think he's a playable value. Daniel Gafford played 19 minutes. He's fine. Again, good point per minute guy. And yeah, so that's the Wizards. A good amount to like, in my opinion. Brooklyn and the Pacers. We'll keep an eye on news here. Ben Simmons not expected to play. Nick Claxton missed the game tonight. And then there were some rumors that KD possibly could rest this game. So, if you have KD, Ben Simmons, and Nick Claxton out, obviously Kyrie's going to look really good at 8'7". He would probably be a priority. And then guys like Royce, TJ Warren, Joe Harris, Seth Curry would all look a lot better. And then, again, if both Simmons and Claxton are out, do they start a small ball lineup, or do they throw a guy like maybe Day'Ron Sharpe in there at the flat min price? So we'll keep an eye on that. But if Day'Ron Sharpe starts, obviously I like him. He's a good point per minute guy. So KD news is going to be important. Nick Claxton news is going to be important. So we could have some good value on the Nets. On the Pacers side, so Haliburton, Miles Turner, these are the two guys that are going to run the offense. Haliburton should play low to mid 30s minutes. Miles Turner, if he stays out of foul trouble, should play low 30s minutes. Like both those guys. Hield, Mathurin, Nembhard, all fine for tournaments. Jalen Smith minutes have been down of late. Aaron Naismith, 4K. Again, he only played 13 minutes tonight, so probably it. Brissett played 26 minutes, but you can't trust the minutes for these secondary Pacers. You really can't. Oklahoma City and Cleveland, basically everyone healthy for the Thunder besides Kenrich Williams, so not a ton that stands out, honestly. Shea's fine at 10-3. He's been a little bit quiet of late, but he'll run the show. Giddey and Dort both feel priced about right. If you want to take some shots in Williams or JRE or Pokuševski for tournaments, you can. Just know the minutes are never secure for the Thunder. Moving on to the Cavs, so Kevin Love, Donovan Mitchell, keep an eye on their status. If they are both out, there's actually a lot to like here. Garland was really disappointing as massive chalk tonight, but I'd be fine going right back to the well with him. Mobley, Allen, they should play big minutes. They're both fine, but the value would look really good here. LeVert started, played 37 minutes. Chetty Osman came off the bench, played 35 minutes. Those two would look really, really good if there's no Love and there's no Mitchell. Dallas and Chicago, so Luka Doncic, price came down a bit. You know what you're getting out of Luka. You're probably going to get, somewhere in the neighborhood of 55 to 60 fantasy points. He's going to play 38-ish minutes. He looks good at the top. Christian Wood, Spencer Dinwiddie, they're both playable, but there's no standouts from either of those guys. Tim Hardaway Jr. is 5.3. He finally had a subpar shooting night and disappointed. But if he is knocking down his shots, I mean, we know that ceiling is there. Probably not going to get to anyone else. I mean, Dorian Finney-Smith should play over 30 minutes. Maxi Kleber, you probably see mid-20s minutes. He's playable as a dart throw. Moving on to Chicago. So Chicago, nothing that really stands out. I think the big three are all fine in DeRozan, Levine, Vooch. Caruso started last game, did play 32 minutes. If he starts again, I think he's probably my favorite play in the Bulls. Patrick Williams should start and play like around 30 minutes. Another low usage guy, but he's only 3.7. So I do like the price points on Caruso and Pat Williams. The minutes have ticked down on Ayo Dosunmu. Drummond's basically been out of the rotation. You're only seeing a few minutes for guys like White and Dragic. So the big three, I think, are all solid plays. But I think my favorite plays probably would be Caruso and Pat Williams. Boston Golden State, so this one should be a good game to watch. Also should be a decent game for DFS. We have no Al Horford, so we should get Blake Griffin starting at 4K. He's probably going to play around 20-ish minutes. He's fine for value. You should see a minutes bump for Grant Williams, who most likely will close at the 5. I think he's a solid value. And then, Tatum, Brown, Smart, I think all look pretty good in an up-tempo game. Brogdon at 4.8 should play somewhere in the neighborhood of like 25 minutes like him. Derek White's fine. So a decent amount to like here for Boston in a good matchup with no Al Horford. Moving on to the Warriors, no Andrew Wiggins. I would guess the Warriors continue to start Jordan Poole. So they'll start Steph, Poole, Clay, Draymond, and Looney. I don't think there's any standouts here. I mean, Steph's 11-1, so it's a little bit tough to prioritize. Poole, Clay, both feel priced about right. Draymond might be my favorite play. I think he'll probably play low to mid-30s minutes. Off the bench, a couple of these guys are priced up from last game when the Warriors were shorthanded. So, yeah, Golden State, not a ton that stands out. Moving on to the Jazz. So, Sexton missed the game tonight. Lauri Markkanen also missed. You saw Nickeil Alexander-Walker, my boy, start. Conley's on a back-to-back, so I would guess that he does not play. So I think they would start Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Clarkson, Olynyk, Beasley, and Walker Kessler again. Kessler dealt with massive foul trouble, only played 21 minutes, but I would guess that he continues to start. If he does, I like him for value. Again, my boy, NAW, started, played 25 minutes. I like him quite a bit. You saw a few rotation minutes for THT. His minutes could tick up, assuming Conley's out again. I don't think Conley will play here. I think Clarkson and Olynyk were both disappointing, but these two, should run the offense, and I think their ceiling is definitely there. Malik Beasley started, played 36 minutes. He's definitely playable in the mid-range. Other value plays, I don't think there's anything else I'll look to. You saw some rotation minutes for Rudy Gay and Ochai Agbaji, but that is it for the Jazz. Moving on to the Nuggets, Jamal Murray probable. Jeff Green is probable as well. No Michael Porter Jr., so you should get the starting lineup of Murray, KCP, Gordon, Bruce Brown, and Jokic. Jokic, I mean, who's going to stop him on the Jazz, right? So, if you have the salary, I think Jokic looks really, really good. Murray, Gordon, Brown, all playable in the mid-range. KCP, we know we're getting out of him. Probably around 30 minutes, get a 3-and-D guy. Bones Highland, definitely playable off the bench. Should see probably around 25 minutes. I don't really think there's anyone else I would get to. I mean, Jeff Green, we'll see rotation minutes. The backup center has been back and forth with DeAndre Jordan and Zeke Naji, so I don't know if I want to mess with that. In the final game here, we got Minnesota and Portland, so no Karl-Anthony Towns. Anthony Edwards at 9-2. Definitely a solid option on the top. He had a really bad shooting game tonight that could lower his ownership. D'Lo might be a bit easier to get to at 7.3K. Should play mid-30s minutes. Gobert stayed out of foul trouble, played 37 minutes. I like him quite a bit here. Slow-Mo had a massive game, went for almost 50 fantasy points. That was definitely an outlier. I'll let others chase that game. Noel, 4.8. We should see low to mid-20s minutes from him. I think he's fine. McDaniels, if he stays out of foul trouble, should play around 30 minutes. You did see a little bit of Naz Reid playing alongside Gobert. Naz Reid, good point per minute guy. The only downside here is he's only center eligible. And finally, the Blazers. So Hart and Winslow both probable. Not a ton that stands out here for the Blazers. I think Dame's a solid tournament play. Went for 72 fantasy points last game. Simons and Grant both feel a bit overpriced. Nurkic, if he stays out of foul trouble, I would think plays like low 30s minutes. He's fine. Hart and Winslow are fine, but there's just not a ton that stands out for me on the Blazers side. That's going to wrap it up the video. Hopefully in the next video, we have something that doesn't end in crippling pain for me. 2 of the last 3 nights, guys. I mean, I just can't make it up. Again, it's just more proof. There's not one person on this planet runs worse. But I appreciate you guys, as always, for watching. If you do enjoy, just make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.